city of sails becomes the city of SailGP.
Over 90 kilometers an hour.
Where the harbour is the arena and the shoreline is the grandstand. Fans here don't just watch the moments, they hold on to them. Auckland has always delivered the noise. Now the season resets, and already Perth has set the tone.
Stand by.
Scars carried home, and a point to prove. New Zealand, get ready to hold the next headline.
Waves crash underneath, sound like thunder speaking. Flying carbon machines, driven by the world's best, yes. Powered by nature, raw passion, all action. When it takes, racing on water, racing with impact. Give it all, everything, give it all, everything. We are racing. When it takes, we are SailGP.
Located on the North Island of New Zealand and bordered by the Pacific Ocean to the east and the Tasman Sea to the west is the metropolitan city known simply as the City of Sails. And now this stunning landscape welcomes the world's best sailors as SailGP arrives. Welcome to the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix Auckland. Life in Auckland revolves around the sea. It's a coastal paradise, and now it is the focal point of the sailing world as 13 international crews will battle it out on the picturesque harbor surrounded by nearly 50 volcanoes that are found around the city. Huge crowds are expected to witness this sailing spectacle of elite athletes on high-tech foiling machines. Alongside Olympian Stevie Morrison and former Team GBR athlete Hannah Diamond, I'm Todd Harris. Well, after a successful opener of Season 6 in Perth last month, the fleet now takes on Auckland. It's a quick turnaround for the annual stop in Sydney Harbour, followed by a first visit to South America and Rio, then a showdown in Bermuda before hitting the Big Apple in the USA. A return to Halifax, Canada is the final North American event, and then 4 iconic stops on the European leg of the season. Then its final 2 stops in the Middle East, with the season grand final taking place at the end of November in Abu Dhabi. Before we get to today's action on the water, let's review what we learned in Perth at Event 1.
The 2026 SailGP season opener was an absolute showstopper. Perth served up big breezes, close racing and some serious consequences, with Emirates Great Britain claiming the first win of the new campaign. But what did we really learn from Perth? Crashes can come earlier than you'd expect, and in SailGP there's no easing into a season. Everything can change in a heartbeat. It was Los Gallos who started the year with an unfortunate failure in their board case during practice that ended their weekend early.
And a big crash in the middle.
Oh, massive misjudgment there by the Black Foils.
The Black Foils were deemed at fault in the collision with Switzerland, which saw them both collect major damage and were unable to race for the rest of the weekend. The Kiwis F50 then faced a complex repair to make it to the start line in Auckland. We saw the United States claim 3 podium results over the weekend, a huge improvement in big wind, something that has typically been their Achilles heel. Artemis Racing's debut to SailGP was seriously impressive. They narrowly missed out on the podium. Across the 7 fleet races, no team was more consistent than DS Automobile's Team France. On day 1, they dominated the start.
Will be DS Team France that controls the field.
And yet, there was only 1 race win to show for it. Emirates GBR timed their winning run perfectly. A difficult opening day was followed by a clinical Sunday. And after pulling off 26 overtakes, more than double any other team, they surged into the winner-takes-all final and delivered when it mattered most.
Emirates GBR opened the 2026 season with a spectacular title defense and get the Emirates winning moment.
After the Oracle Perth Sail Grand Prix, Big news came in with a change for Rockwall Racing. American businessman Doug DeVos and team principal of the American Magic team has invested in the Danish team. Alongside this acquisition, American Magic has partnered with SailGP to operate a high-performance centre in Pensacola, Florida. It's an exciting training opportunity with equal access for all teams.
So with final preparations being made by the athletes to the high-tech F-50 foiling catamarans, we turn our attention to what's about to transpire. With challenging conditions and the need for laser focus, these 13 international teams are about to set out in search of points and position.
Well, here we go, the first day of racing here in Auckland, and we're looking for 4 fleet races for the 13 boats. First time we'll see that. 3 more races tomorrow. 10 points for the winner. 1 if you're at the back of the pack, none if you really finish last. We're going to accumulate points, and the top 3 boats go to that winner-takes-all final tomorrow.
Auckland brings us one of the tightest race courses we've seen. And with a strong breeze blowing off the city, there's going to be plenty of action. After a left turn at Mark 1, the fleet will head away from the city towards Gate 2, where they can choose to turn either left or right before heading back up towards the grandstand. Although the wind will be up, the sea state should be relatively flat, and it'll be a really fine balance between pushing the boat to its potential and finding the limits. With the wind coming off the city, there'll be no chance to anticipate the wind hitting the course, and we could see the breeze shifting in direction, making the boat really hard to sail.
So the 13 teams are set and ready to go battle here in Auckland at the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix. Before we go racing, let's check in with the 4th member of our broadcast team. Here's Olympic silver medalist Lisa Darmanin.
It's extremely variable winds out here, Todd. 1 minute it's really strong and the next a huge light patch, which means it's going to be incredibly tough racing ahead as the athletes try and manage that power. This is because, as Hannah said, the wind is blowing over the land from the southwest. It's averaging 24 kilometres per hour and gusting up to 33 kilometres per hour. Config-wise, we were expecting a bit more breeze, so they're set up with the high-speed T-foils. It was a year ago since they were introduced in Auckland. They've also got the high-speed rudder winglets to match, the 18-metre wing, so a very high-speed setup. And as you can see, it's already quite chaotic out here, so it's going to be an epic day of racing.
All right, thank you very much, Lisa, and it is all on and all to play for as the breeze is picking up, and look at this. This was the moment just for Italy, and that is one way, Stevie and Hannah, to wake up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, Hannah, but I think that only stays upright when you've got Kyle Langford or someone with that kind of experience on the wing.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, he's had some close moments when he was sailing with the Bonds Flying Roos in the previous seasons, but it's going to be plenty of action today with really tricky conditions with that course tucked right up under the grandstand in the Auckland shoreline.
So 1:47 to go before we start racing here on day number 1 of the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix. It's good to be back in Auckland, and these conditions, as Lisa Darmanin reported, guys, they are going to be very tricky. And the word is, Stevie and Hannah, this is a very tight course. Hannah, how do you see this one playing out, especially the race to mark number 1?
Well, the race to mark number 1 is going to be super important because I think it's a very short distance from mark 1 to the bottom gate. So positioning is going to be super key to be able to take the lead and try and get an easy way around to the gate marks.
And Stevie, for some of these new teams that don't have experience out here, this is going to be a baptism by fire. These are some of the most challenging conditions we've seen in a very tight course here in Auckland. There is very little room for error here as we get set for the first fleet race of the day.
Yeah, I think this is a great view on the helicopter here, Todd. You can see the different textures on the water. I think for anyone watching this SailGP for the first time, remember those darker patches of water, that suggests more wind, more horsepower. There's big variation in the potential wind speed out here, so it's a day to get your head out of the boat. If I was coaching these teams, the key thing here is, can I be proactive, not reactive? We've got to see what's coming, and the pre-start is absolutely crucial to setting that up. Big gust of wind here. Teams have got a nice big starting box. They can go nearly out to those boats on the right-hand side here.
Stevie, we're getting some breaking news. They are halting racing right now as we were 30 seconds away from the start of race number 1, and there are reports of multiple tech issues on board these boats, and it is going to be shut down for now.
Yeah, I think interesting fact here, The lines we see on the screen, the sailors can't see on the boat, Todd. Okay, they can't see on the water. So the only way they can see that is by a wing screen that's beamed to them from our helicopter and technical system. So the technology to actually run this race course is unbelievable. And just seeing a couple of glitches, no doubt it'll be sorted out pretty quickly. But yeah, it's not safe to race without that up and running. So we just got that slight pause.
So it's a hard reset. And Hannah, I imagine this is not just a case of unplug and plug it back in. I think this is going to be a little more involved.
Yeah, and I think it seems like all the teams are having similar issues, so hopefully it's something that the tech team on shore, they're always looking at what is being displayed on the boat, so they'll be able to have a little investigation and see what they can do to fix that.
I'm convinced there's going to be a Control-Alt-Delete going on somewhere, though, Todd.
All right, while we have a moment, we are able to go down to, on the water, Leo Takahashi and the Blackfoils, who we spoke to earlier.
Well, Leo, it was your first event with the team last season. Now you've got a year under your belt. How excited are you to race in front of home fans?
Yeah, very excited. The hype's been building for a long time, I guess a year or 2 years now, and it's cool to be on home waters. We got a little sail yesterday, boat's in good nick, and yeah, the team are very excited to get out there.
And the repairs went well. Obviously, the boat has been confirmed. Were there much nerves out there when you were doing the testing?
No, I think we took it easy and made sure that the tech team wanted us to just have a good list of things to tick off, and then yeah, the boat's in good working form, and then we kind of threw it around at the end there, and yeah, the conditions are really good and even better today and tomorrow. The
conditions here, you're the local, what can we expect?
Gusty, very shifty winds, and hopefully we get a bit of sunshine, but yeah, going to be epic southwest flat water. Done a lot of racing in those conditions here, so it's going to be epic.
And some of the best minds at work, so it looks like the tech issues have been cleared, so we'll put the clock back as we come up on 1 minute to go, so we're back in pre-start mode. That means they have 70 seconds from right now to get themselves Stevie Morrison and Hannah Diamond into the right position on a very tight course on a very breezy day here at the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix.
Looks to me like some of these boats are out of position at the minute, Hannah.
Yeah, that's right. You can see Canada and Great Britain, they've got a long way to come back to be the correct side of the start line, which is the right-hand side of our screen. Some teams react better to pauses like that than others, but it's really crucial. They're going to have to line up really well if they're going to have any hope of leading at Mark 1.
Yeah, I mean, Fletcher definitely saw that early because the British have been going absolutely flat out from about the last 25 seconds. Canada are definitely late here. They might have a chance to dive inside, but they're going to be really out of position on their plan. The boats manoeuvre back. Bond's Flying Ruse, well positioned, tight in the pack. Emirates GBR, wow, drive it like you stole it, Dylan Fletcher. Spins the boat in front of Artemis there. They've managed to close the door. France well positioned here. I think the Blackfoils might have a chance to shoot through at the bottom of the line. 16 seconds to go. Burling's got the Blackfoils lit up here. Got to watch out for the Spanish. Tight in the pack. Spain controls the start here. Rolex pole predictor on the Bond's Flying Ruse, but we're looking for the line to turn white. 3 seconds to go. It's going to be a blanket start.
Pressure on it, 2, big one to press, 2.
Oh, it's brilliant out the middle by Rockwell, and it's very, very good from the French, but it's a sprint now. Bond's Flying Ruse, Slingsby's got the hammer down.
Pressure on, lifting pressure. Press. Slowly on Rockwell. Sing a little here.
It's going to be tight into Mark 1 here, Todd. They're all overlap. Looks like Australia are going to struggle to get over the top. Should be the French leading at Mark 1.
Okay, marginally clear. Okay, rolling down here.
And at mark number 1, it is DS Team France that grabs the whole shot as they cut inside. They've got the Bond's Flying Ruse to the outside. They've got the Kiwis just behind them.
Tight at Mark 1. I think it was interesting to the right-hand side of our screen. The Blackfoils were manoeuvring away early, and I think we're going to find out a lot about this race course early on. France here, you're in the lead. Take your time.
They're obviously happy to lead all the way to that boundary there, really late with the jibe. As they come back towards the middle of the course, we did see a lot of boats peel off at Mark 1, but it looks really puffy and shifty on the course with lots of different angles.
Yeah, good breeze on the Blackfoils, dark patch of water. Spain fast as well. Top of our scheme, the French. They've definitely sailed into less wind. All boats are going to compress into the bottom, and the angles are changing a lot. Right of way with Spain and New Zealand.
This is the umpires, penalty USA, not giving room at the boundary, go behind GBR.
Bond's Flying Ruse, brave here from Slingsby. He's got to be sure that he's across. Right of way with the Blackfoils, but it's going to be the Bond's Flying Ruse. Ooh. They're a little bit loose, but they're very, very quick round the bottom gate there.
Heading runners. Hey, twin on the left is
Black foils,
Absolutely thread the needle, Stevie. They thread the needle, those 5 boats at the second gate.
Accuracy of manoeuvres there, Todd, was incredible. The Bonds Flying Roos had to keep it safe, did a nice job. Black foils were fast, very accurate. They've manoeuvred into a nice gust of wind here. Lisa, the breeze here is all over the place. Are there any patterns you've seen out there on the course yet, or are you just reacting to what you got at the time?
Oh, there's no pattern out here, Stevie. It's patchy, as you can see. You also have to sail your own wind. It's not like, if you're about 100 metres away from your competitors, even 50, you could be in completely different wind. But where the black foils are right now, they've really hooked into a nice bit of pressure that's bringing them right up the course.
I think something we'll see as the day goes on a little bit, Hannah, here, as you see how unstable the black foils were there. They're going to struggle to manoeuvre across from that side, and I think the top right-hand corner of our screen, it's brilliant for the fans, but that grandstand is so big here in Auckland. This actually means there might not be a lot of wind at the top there. Black foils manoeuvre, they've got to be sure that they're ahead of the Aussies. Looks like Burling's back.
Yeah, and one of the things that makes it so tricky at the top of the course is that they can't anticipate what wind is about to hit them, so it gets to be a bit of a gamble, and they're always planning ahead. So for the black foils, they're really hoping they get a good puff of wind off that shoreline.
Yeah, I think he's going to have to do one more manoeuvre for a left turn here by the look of it. It's going to be less distance to that left turn, but I'm not sure how the breeze will be, so they're going to have to be accurate on their manoeuvre, try and get the boat fast, and it's all about getting away from gate 3 as quickly as you can, Todd.
As they approach gate number 3, this is leg 3 of 8, race number 1 of 4. It is New Zealand, the home team, on top. DS Team France has dropped back to 3rd, with the Bonds Flying Roos of Australia sitting in 2nd place. Spain's moving into 4th, and Red Bull Italy rounding out your top 5.
Hannah, I like this right turn here by the Bonds Flying Roos. Yeah, you see the black foils manoeuvre early. It's just less wind under that grandstand, I think.
Yeah, and I think what we just can't see off screen at the moment is there is a little bit of a gap. So from the kind of topography of the land, there is a bit of space for the breeze to come through there. But you can see a lot of teams choosing to make that left turn. I suspect we'll see them all manoeuvre early to come back to the middle of the course.
Yeah, and we see Emirates GBR are right stuck back in the middle of the pack here, so they've been pretty much unbeatable for the last little while. But I do think with a new wing trimmer on board, these conditions are going to be hard because it's so dynamic out there. And once you fall off the foils, there's actually not a lot of breeze on the water today. These small wings here, very, very good for high speed, but if you get it wrong, you're going to pay a heavy penalty.
Taylor Canfield on the US SailGP team with a slick move on the outside of the reigning champions Emirates GBR. So it is Australia, the Bonds Flying Roos out in front. It is the Black Foils of New Zealand in 2nd, and DS Team France in 3rd. Denmark, Rockwell Denmark has moved up to 4th. Spain and Brazil now top 6.
But here we go. We're already approaching gate 4 here. Bonds Flying Roos have done an overtake. That right turn was good. Hey, I've still got it, Hannah. We saw that one, but again, a split for the black foils. Burling not afraid to do extra manoeuvres to find extra breeze.
Good angle.
It's really a race course of 2 halves. We've got quite strong breeze down the bottom. You've got to be really careful with that manoeuvre, making sure that you nail that turn up when you go back upwind, but much lighter at the top of the course. Some big separation across the fleet right now.
Separation really kicking into play, but those first 2 legs absolutely hectic as they were trying to find room on this compressed course with the breeze just kicking up. Stevie, to Lisa's report early on, the breeze is not predictable today, is it?
No, it's very dynamic, and this is a great helicopter shot. You see left-hand side, there's the CBD, the Central Business District of Auckland there, and that's really going to be disturbing the wind. Right-hand side of the screen, you can see on average it's going to be clearer, but right now the Bonds Flying Roos, well, they've got great breeze and they've got a great angle, so the wind's come out of the lucky left for them there. They won't have seen that coming, but Slingsby's one that can grab advantage of anything if it's given to him.
Boundary tag on the German line.
I think your only real controllables out there today are how well you manoeuvre your boat and how well you try and see what's coming. So see that gust of wind coming, see that lighter bit of wind coming. I always think it's harder to see a lighter bit of wind, Hannah. But right there you can see the Bonds Flying Roos. Not necessarily done what worked last time, but they've reacted well.
Up, yeah, I think we're going to get fast in this one, pressing.
Down slightly.
Up at my right.
So what are they talking about there, Hannah? You can mode the boats differently, can't you? Sometimes you can be sailing at an average speed, but occasionally when it's this shifty, you've got to just put the hammer down.
Yeah, that's right. And a lot of today is going to be about linking the patches of pressure together. So if you can minimise the time you're in that lighter wind, you're going to be sailing faster around the course. But then you also want to minimise your manoeuvres as well. But Bonds Flying Roos doing a really nice job at the moment.
Yeah, gate 5 here. I think what's interesting is the Bonds Flying Roos happy to do what didn't work last time, because now the situation's changed. They're in a big dark patch of breeze. It's all over the place, but they made a massive gain as the black foils manoeuvre in front of the French team.
I've got a roll here. I got it. What are we doing? I don't know, mate. Put down.
little bit of chaos out there.
Well, if they don't know what we're doing, I'm not sure any of the rest of us do. That's one of the slickest teams in world sailing, and they're struggling to piece it together and keep things smooth. 2 places lost on the black foils, and they're off the foils. There you go. DS Automobile France, excellent manoeuvre, kept the boat fast, kept the boat slick, and they've driven away from the black foils really quick.
Australia, DS Team France, Denmark, now your top 3.
You can see there the Spanish as well. As soon as you fall off the foils at the top of the course, there's less wind. You've got to be at big incident here. GBR have got to keep, they've got the right of way, sorry. Spain had to see it. Brilliant work by the strategists on board Los Gallos and the black foils there. Nico van Verden and Liv Mackay had their eyes on stalks to see that. The whole field of play is changing all the time, isn't it, Hannah?
Yeah, that's right, and you can see just the difference in angle of the boats coming down the course. In that first leg, they were sailing almost perpendicular to those ladder lines, and now they're sailing almost across them. The pressure difference and the changing angle of the wind is making it really hard to predict the best strategy around the course.
So right now, it is the Bons Flying Roos, the 3-time champions. They are out in front, guys. You've got DS Team France sitting in second. The battle for a top 3 is between Los Gallos, and it looks like the black foils coming back into form. It's going to be a tight one at this next gate.
Yeah, just a really good angle there. They've just managed to cut the corner on Los Gallos. Really sailed less distance, sailed it pretty fast. Lisa, final upwind leg of the race. A lot of the boats have been favouring that left-hand side, it seemed, on the last lap. Is there anything obviously changed?
All over the show like a horse yours, isn't it?
Sounds like we've lost Lisa's comms there. We'll get back to her as we are on leg 7 of 8, the penultimate leg here on race number 1. We've got 3 more fleet races to go. Everyone's going to take a deep breath, and there's going to be a lot learned, Stevie, from this first race.
Well, yeah, a huge amount learned, but I think the interesting thing with this course, Todd, is to Lisa's point and what we've been seeing out in the race course. In some ways, there isn't a lot to learn because it's just that what you've learned is changing all the time. So I think it will just reinforce the fact that be accurate what you can be accurate with. Australia here, they've come way wide of those blue lines. That's our lay line that says you'll make the next gate, but they're just building margin in here. Los Gallos, middle of our screen, they've actually split away from the black foils and they're sailing into a huge gust of wind here on the Spanish boat. Potentially a big game for them against the New Zealand team at the top, but it's going to be a left turn here for the Aussies, and they should bring it home for the first race win, I reckon.
Tom Slingsby slings it around, and here we go. What a way to open up here at the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix in Auckland, as the Bons Flying Roos gets the Emirates winning moment here on day number 1, race number 1.
Kinley Fowler there, Sam Newton. The grinders at the front of these boats are going to be absolutely exhausted. Black foils have managed to shut the door on Los Gallos. French are going to come home in second place there. That was Hannah's pre-event favourites, actually, the French team. So great first event there. Some serious headwear at the back there for Quentin de la Pierre, trying to sort of protect himself from the incident we saw Chris Draper have. And as we see, it's very tight in the pack here. Good results for the Germans and the Brazilians in the middle of the fleet there. As we can see, GBR currently back in 12th.
So with Spain getting 4th, Denmark holds on for 5th, and it looks like Germany Deutsche Bank will get 6th, with Mobile Brazil 7th, just ahead of the US SailGP team.
Well, that was very, well, it was good. That is for sure. And for Mubadala Brazil, that's a really good starter race. USA, solid again out there. Artemis, not sure how they'll be feeling there. The Outeridge normally loves the shifty conditions. I'm not sure what we've learnt in that race, Hannah, but what we have seen is it's very, very busy, and there's a lot of opportunity on this racetrack.
Good fighters.
Sebastian Snyder giving his review as they come in, and they will finish in 10th place. That leaves Emirates GBR, guys. Tough way to go after winning the first event in Perth less than a month ago. The Brits, the reigning and defending champions from season 5, they finish in 11th place. And Stevie, if my math is correct, that is 0 points.
Todd, there's nothing wrong with your thing there, yeah, and a bit of a shocker indeed, as Dylan said. Very difficult. I think, you know, this is the kind of conditions that Fletcher often likes, but I do think that dynamic environment where there's going to be a lot of wing trim and a lot of steering to find each other, this will be where him and Stuart Biffle really have to refine each other.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a day where it really rewards the team synergy. You've got to be working together, and it's so easy to get your head kind of stuck in the boat and not be able to see the breeze properly.
Yeah, I think one interesting thing that we should mention, we've not mentioned it to now, but actually Ian Jensen's knee's not recovered. So Glenn Ashby came in super sub. He's come out of the farm. He's back on the boat, but the Australians are sort of, you know, having to adapt as well out there.
So the win goes to the Bonds Flying Roos as they open up the weekend with a big victory in race number 1. We now are able to go down on the water. Tom Slingsby, the driver for the Aussies. Tom, when was the last time you had a hectic day of racing like that here in Auckland?
Last year, I think. And I think the last time we had a crazy race was in Perth. But so we're getting plenty of wild conditions, but yeah, it's really tough out here. And yeah, I'm sure you guys can probably see that there's plenty of mistakes. But when there's plenty of mistakes, there's plenty of opportunity as well.
Tom, it's very nice to see you in your sailing kit, not your underwear, I have to say. But how hard is it for Tash out there on the water, really?
It's bloody tough for Tash. She's spotting all the boats and calling crosses, and then all of a sudden that boat gets a 30-degree lift. And so it's really tough. She's doing an amazing job. And I think in that race, even though we won, we all had moments of just laying on the trampoline trying to get back up. It was a bit of a wild race. And yeah, I know, unfortunately, it's going to be a couple of me clipped up after that one.
Tom, appreciate the time, and I echo what Stevie said. It's good to see you fully kitted up.
I agree.
And we'll take a look back at the highlights of that first race. And the teams from the middle of the line came out really well, with Rockwool Denmark, DS Team France hitting the line fast with speed. But it was the Bonds Flying Roos who managed their speed really nicely. The Kiwis led out of Mark 1 into that manoeuvre to jibe away, find the best pressure, and sailed really nicely down the course towards gate 2.
Yeah, it was all about trying to pick those patches of breeze together around the course and just keep the boat fast. I think often at the bottom it was quite easy. You can see here as the gaps close and it's really tight, but the Bonds Flying Roos, what they did very well was they stayed fast, they stayed in control of their own destiny, and they stayed foiling, and that was absolutely crucial. I think foiling time, if it wasn't 100%, you were struggling.
And as we take a look at the Emirates fly time here in race number 1, you got to give it to the Bonds Flying Roos. Stevie, it was hectic out there. It was a little nutty, but somehow Tom Slingsby found a way to bring it home here at the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix for the win in race number 1. Well, a third-place finish for the Black Foils on home waters. Not only will they be trying to defend their home event and claim the top spot at the end of the weekend in Auckland, but they must reclaim the momentum that was lost after that racing incident in Perth, where they made contact with the Swiss and were forced to retire from the weekend's racing. And for SailGP's Technologies team, the race was on not only to rebuild the boat, but also navigate some serious logistical challenges.
Massive misjudgment there by the Black Foils.
We still don't really agree with the call, but you've got to live by what the umpires say. You've got to stand by that decision. It's kind of sport. You don't always agree with the decisions that get made.
We knew this season would be challenging. It's pretty scary.
We're essentially rebuilding that whole aft quarter of the boat. The section that's been built here, that's going to be flown air freight down to New Zealand. And then we have the hull section of the boat that will be transported to SeaTech. We know we have to do 24-hour shifts, otherwise it's not possible.
Yes, we will colour that, leave this bit as much as we can.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously time of the essence here, boys. Big push to get these Kiwis back on the water for their home event. It's going to be pretty tight, so we're just going to have to push hard to get there. Let's get going.
The level of complexity really comes down to time. You have the steering system, you have hydraulics, you have electronics. It's absolutely essential that we piece all those parts together. Absolutely spot on.
Okay, we're going to go hold there, Joey. We'll go half a metre further out. Watch it for us.
If we make a mistake, they will not make the start line.
Hey Pete, it's Alex. Do you copy?
Yeah.
Give it a go and be conservative.
Alright, happy to take off. That's sweet.
All looks pretty good here, really. I can't see any issues. No unusual sounds on board.
Oh, good.
Yep, cool. Yep, so happy for you to transition into foiling manoeuvres now.
Tech team's done an awesome job getting our boat back in one piece. We're looking forward to giving it our all in front of a home crowd.
Well, Stevie and Hannah, I will say that SailGP Technologies, absolute magicians on what they were able to pull off of what they were received from Perth.
Yeah, and the turnaround between all of these vents is really tight, so to see all the boats back on the water is really impressive. That was the first race we've had with 13 boats on the water, and we're just coming up to race 2 of the day.
So coming up on a minute to go before the start of the second race here at the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix Auckland Rolex SailGP Championship. All right, Stevie, under a minute to go, I want to get your thoughts. What did you learn, or Hannah learn, from that first race that will transpire here in the second race?
I think the top of the course is key. That's where you can make the big mistakes, is into sort of gate 3 if you're not fast there. But this pre-start is very, very hard to predict the acceleration. Look at those gusts of wind coming down. Darker patches, more breeze, better for your acceleration. But if you get there too early, or earlier than you planned on, you're going to have to hit the brakes. And we saw that timing was really tricky. Canada are late in again towards the bottom of the line here. Black foils at the bottom as well. All the boats start to manoeuvre back. Black foils cut the corner. Canada, it's a bit loose on board the North Star Canada boat. Los Gaias well positioned as well at the moment here, and it's now about lining things up. Bond's Flying Rouge are liking the top of the course. Artemis has got the Rolex pole predictor on top of their wing. Can Outeridge convert from here? He could be shut out at the top of the line though. All about timing. France dive through the middle. USA, black foils, middle of the line, look well. Look for that line to turn wide. Outeridge timing at the start there, just early on board the Swiss.
The umpires, Switzerland, early start penalty, go behind the whole fleet.
My word, that was close.
Costly.
So close. Artemis racing at the top. They're going to be able to absolutely drop the hammer. They can wind it up over the top of the fleet here, but on the inside, Los Gaias, you have to be very, very brave on board Artemis if they want to lead from there.
And at mark number 1, that is a thing of beauty. All 13 teams racing for the whole shot as Mubadala Brazil and Los Gaias out in front.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing here, you see Rockwool Denmark manoeuvre away. They're going to be in control of things. Where Artemis was sat on the outside of the wheel, if you don't lead, you're suddenly out of control of your decision. Look how loose it is on board the Mubadala Brazil there. They've done a nice job. They're in a big patch of breeze. You can see how dark the water is there. Los Gaias and Mubadala Brazil are going to be well positioned coming into gate 2.
Not easy conditions to nail those manoeuvres, but you've got to be finding the pressure on the course, but it makes it much harder to sail the boat and keep it under control. You can see how hard it is just to get from one side to the other.
It looks good for the black foils and for Artemis at the moment there. They've got a nice angle, they've got back into good wind. Los Gaias have got the right of way. Black foils have got to make a decision here. We saw the right turn was pretty strong. It looks like Burling's going to try and slide across in front of everyone. He's not got the right of way, he's got to be sure.
Wow.
Oh, you've got to say, I mean, given what happened at the last event, he's not looking nervous out there, is he?
I'd say he was pretty lucky that Mubadala Brazil had that little incident falling off the foil there, having to rebuild all of their speed, but you've got to be brave in this fleet if you want to win races.
Todd, I'm going to try and throw it down and ask Lisa on the water out there. We can see the Los Gaias, the Spanish, heading in towards the Auckland shoreline there. It feels like there's more wind to the right, Lisa, on the course as we see a big incident between North Star and with the black foils. North Star having to take evasive action out there, and it's at the moment good breeze on board the black foils. They've got to be really careful that they manage to keep this locked in as we see North Star Canada really struggling. They are miles behind now.
Just Rockwool after, but no issue.
Getting reports after race number 1 that Canada had some issues on board, so that could attribute to where they are right now. Currently in dead last, they finished 13th in race number 1. So as they make their way up right now, it is the black foils out in front. It is Spain sitting in second, and it is DS Team France, the bottom of your screen, sitting in third.
Okay, Los Gaias well positioned here. Look how they've got that boat looking quite smooth. Interesting, though, it's so dynamic out here that they're choosing not to swap the crew member side to side there. We could see the flight controller and the strategist on board Spain already early positioned, and as much as they've made a loss early on, it looks like DS Automobile and Los Gaias have made a gain. They've got the right of way on the black foils. Black foils need to stick this manoeuvre. Burling's done it. Lisa, it felt like the right-hand side should be good. Maybe on this upwind left leg it's been good again, but who's going to get this right at gate number 3?
Oh, Oh, it's so tricky to call. I have been surprised that they've been turning left, but as you clear the grandstand, there's this big bullet that comes out of the harbour, and so I think that's what's working on the upwind. That's what they're getting right now. As you can see, they've made the manoeuvre straight away, so this is actually going to go advantage to DS Team France.
Good breeze there. We see it so heated in the middle of the pack out there. We see DS France have got good breeze. I think the Black Foils might hold on to the lead. They're back into good wind. And what we talk about often at this event, Todd, is to get to these finals, you've got to be consistent. One thing I can guarantee you, this weekend is going to be an absolute street fight. Nothing out here, really, other than how you manoeuvre your own boat is controllable. You've got to fight for every point you can. Right away, France. Spain have got to keep clear.
A big gain on the left. Okay, they're gonna be inside. Stand by, drive round up. Stand by.
So that's Lee McMillan there talking about when they manoeuvre back on.
Oh, it's a big incident to manoeuvre there. They've had to slow it up. Oh, they're going to lose a lot of here. Sorry about the language on board there. The French are going to lose an awful lot of distance. They got tangled up, and it's a good manoeuvre there. The Black Foils are heading back to where Content de la Pierre wanted to go. This should be a good gain for the hometown favourites. Los Gallas, well, they're back in it. The two teams that missed the racing in Perth, well, they're showing us they've still got it.
And at gate number 4, the DP World Gate, it is the Black Foils, the home team out in front. DS Team France, lucky to have Lee McMillan still on board, and Los Gallas in third as they've now moved ahead of France into second place.
Yeah, gains to be made here as we see the Bonds Flying Rouge are going to get a right turn. They're going to make a gain, I think, here. They've got themselves in spade, leading out of a mark, and they're heading towards Prix. Heading out towards Prix where Artemis are. Artemis, they're in some good wind on that side of the course here. There's opportunities all around this racetrack, and we saw that as long as you're in wind, and as long as you stay in wind, you make some big, big gains. Mubadala Brazil, well, they were brilliant at Mark 1 and Gate 2, but they've struggled to keep the manoeuvres good. Hear the comms there between Paul Goodison and Martini Grail at the back of that Brazilian boat, just trying to pick your way and avoid the traffic as hard as anything. Hannah, you've been on the boats, haven't you? How hard is it actually seeing each other?
It's really hard, and today everything's so dynamic. Things are changing. 1 minute you're crossing a boat, the next minute you're not. So to say that you've got to be dynamic today is just the biggest understatement we can say, really.
Here we go, the Black Foils, I don't know if they're just trying to keep the fans happy, but they're constantly heading back towards that left turn under the grandstand here. It's definitely going to be the easiest option for them. Looks like a slight less distance to sail that way, but it's definitely high risk whether you get breeze or not. How well do they execute that manoeuvre? Flight controller Leo Takahashi. Well, he's been in the role a year now, and that was very, very slick on board there. Emirates GBR, they're up to third. We're going to see a split with Los Gallas. The British need a result after a disappointing first one.
Yeah, GBR finishing the first race in 11th place. Meanwhile, New Zealand looking to bank 2 good races right out of the gate. The Kiwis, the Black Foils, finishing race number 1 in 3rd place, and they lead here in race number 2. Remember, we are scheduled for 4 races today.
Yeah, there's a bit of a tight one in the pack there, Todd, between the Swiss. I'm not sure the Swiss saw the Italians. Red Bull Italy. You can see Phil Robertson, he's got his head on a stalk there looking around for breeze. As soon as you're in the pack, it's so hard to actually be able to sail the course you want to sail. We're starting to see a bit of a pattern that actually that left turn, it might be risky, but if you manoeuvre straight after it, it's really hard here. We're on board the Swiss. You can see them coming in. They've not got the right of way and just too late to turn really there for me. Someone needed to be talking to Seb a little bit earlier and getting that manoeuvre put in, because that was just too late manoeuvring, too much risk in the portfolio.
So the Black Foils out in front, they make the turn for the gate. It'll be back up the course and then to the finish line. Nice lead as Emirates GBR has now moved into second place. And look at Artemis with Nathan Outeridge. They are in third, Los Gallas fourth. DS Team France, guys, they were at the front of the pack now, and they have not recovered. They've dropped all the way back to 5th.
Yeah, they had that one bad manoeuvre where Lee got a bit tangled up, and, you know, they've kept the wheels on. It's not a disastrous result, but it just shows you one mistake of your handling, that's in your control. If you make that mistake, you can lose a lot. Artemis, good result here. All the boats turning left. Straight manoeuvre there from the Black Foils. They're coming off to try and cut the rest of the fleet off. But Lisa told us earlier, don't chase and sail with the pack behind you. You've got to sail what you're in and trust your own racing skills. Look at this here. Emirates GBR 9th to 2nd, and if you can overtake boats on a day like today, you're going to be doing pretty well. Mubadala Brazil, well, that's not the picture you want to paint, is it, Hannah?
No, and I think Emirates GBR are just doing a really nice job of picking up one boat at a time. They're happy to split, and I think they've done a really nice job by taking that left turn, making sure that the closest competitors had to follow them around that Mark 2.
Well, Stevie Morrison said this is going to be a street fight all weekend long. This is like that old video game Frogger, just getting across the street, crossing between boats at high speeds. This is craziness, as right now it is the Blackfoils of New Zealand, the home team, that leads the way. They finished third in the first race, looking for a win here in race number 2.
Todd, I'm not sure if I'm more down with the kids than you, but I was going to go with Mario Kart. I've never heard of Froggo. It's definitely got Mario Kart vibes out here. You can really get charged up, and at the moment you can see Los Gallos. They've got a big gust of wind. They've got a good shift. They've got the right of way. Fletcher's got to be very, very accurate here.
So this one is far from over. It'll be one more maneuver, and then they will be on to the final home stretch.
Yeah, Blackfoils are going to get this done. Los Gallos should be okay, but Artemis are going to dive inside here. They have got the right of way. Outeridge, I can put money on it, will have put a protest on Los Gallos there. He's tried to dive inside. He had the right of way. That'll be interesting how that one goes, because that looked very, very tight.
And the Emirates winning moment goes to the home team. The Blackfoils take the win in race 2.
This is the umpires. Penalty Spain, not giving mark room, go behind Sweden.
Yeah, and that's interesting because look at this. The Artemis team have fallen off the foils here. Artemis are actually hemorrhaging points as we go along the leg now. We can see they're off the foils. All these places, Spain are going to have to go back behind. France gain a place. As soon as you fall off the foils, I won Nathan. He was aggressive going in there. He proved a point. But I think he might have lost himself a lot of actual racing points by being too aggressive. It's not the kind of venue where that little delicate detailings, you've got to keep your boat fast at the top of the course. For me, that was too aggressive by Artemis, and they've cost themselves there.
And a huge example of that potential wind shadow at the top. They just didn't have the space to rebuild the speed and get back up on the foil after that mark incident.
Not sure he's finished yet. Oh, he's just across the line, but they've dropped way back down the fleet. Spain are going to go the whole way back behind them as well. Costly for the Spanish, but yeah, I feel that they did have the right of way, but sometimes prioritise keeping your boat fast.
Now the team's all trying to poach off and get these final positions, picking up an extra point here and there as US SailGP team has come to almost a complete halt. Canada will get past them into 10th.
Yeah, what a comeback by North Star. Remember how far out the back they were, Todd, at the beginning of the race. They've seen me Butler, Brazil. Martini just dialing around the outside. Wow. Mistakes really, really hurt you out on this race course.
Yeah.
If you make an error, it can cost you hundreds and hundreds of meters. So when you think of that DS automobile, slight error in a maneuver, but they did keep things smooth overall, and they're pretty much in the race.
So race 2 has come to an end here at the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix, and it is the home team that claims the victory on home waters. We now go down on the water. Peter Burling, the driver. Pete, take us through that race. What was the difference between race 1 and race 2, and how good does it feel to be racing here in Auckland?
Yeah, it's such an awesome racetrack. I think for all those that came down to cheer us on, it's really turned on a beautiful show for them, but hard though. Super puffy and shifty, so you've got to make it, get it right.
Pete, appreciate the time. We'll let you get back and get ready for race number 3. So it is the Blackfoils that get the win in race number 2 after it was the Australians that win race number 1. Guys, let's take a look at the highlights and break this thing down.
And if we roll back to the start of race number 2, there was a nice bit of space at the bottom end of the line, which allowed Mubadala Brazil and the Spanish to accelerate really nicely. But Artemis at the top of the line had huge amount of speed. And this was the first race I think we've seen where we were so many boats wide by the time it got to Mark 1, showing how important it is not just to be fast at the start, but think about your positioning of where you're going to come out of Mark 1. Because for a lot of the teams, the priority here was leading that maneuver, putting that jibe in early and heading down the course, as we see Rockwell jibing away there into some space. And it was the Spanish who managed to lead round the bottom gate with the Kiwis just behind, taking that left turn, and Mubadala Brazil falling off the foils there, which ended up being really costly for them.
Yeah, I think just being clean was so important, and what the Blackfoils did well was execute good manoeuvres when they could, and then they dominated the turn they wanted. You see DS Automobile here, he was trying to stay in space, but again, he just had a few bad manoeuvres on the downwind leg, quite an unusual one. Lee got a little bit tangled, we've not really seen that from them before, but so costly. We see on board the French team now as they set up for this manoeuvre. There's just a few tangles, and that cost them a lot of places, but places were easily lost at the top of the course here. I think the Blackfields learnt their lesson from race one. Make sure you're fast at the top.
And, you know, we've been talking a little bit about how close this racecourse is to the grandstand. I think a lot of boats have got away with that left turn when we've been sailing on the laps of the course, but it really came to be a pivotal part of the race with such light winds underneath that grandstand coming into the finish.
And a perfect transition into the Emirates fly time, and it goes to the winning team of team number 2. It's 100% for the Blackfoils. You can't get much better than that. As New Zealand strikes back after finishing 3rd in race number 1, they get the win in race number 2. So 2 down, 2 still to go as we now take a look at the standings as it is, and it is the Blackfoils leading the way by 1 point over DS France. The Bons Flying Rouge sitting in 3rd after winning race number 1. Los Gallos, man, that was a costly error as they finished in 4th place. They are 4th overall, Emirates GBR 5th, with Rockwell Racing, Artemis, and Germany Deutsche Bank rounding out the top 8. What a day, what a way to start things off with 2 more fleet races still to go in Auckland. So the fans can now take an opportunity to have a moment, get a beverage, and sample some of Kiwi's finest dining as we get ready for the final 2 races here at the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix.
The City of Sails is set to become the City of SailGP as the Waitemata Harbour hosts the second event of SailGP's 2026 season.
Yeah, it's definitely special to be home. We're absolutely stoked to be racing again on home waters.
Great memories here. We had our first race win as a team in this venue last year.
Congratulations to Sebastian Snyder and his crew.
Another team sail within the Rolex SailGP Championship. What does it mean to have a group like American Magic backing Rockwell Racing?
That level of expertise to have involved in the league and helping us drive the league forward is enormous.
We do need to talk about Perth.
Oh, massive misjudgment there by the Blackfoils.
I seem to have gotten the honour of being the first driver to end up with demerit points on my licence. We still don't see eye to eye with the umpires fully on the incident. Yeah, we've got to live by the decision and move forward.
Obviously, we spoke in the protest and a little bit after sailing. It's part of the nature of racing these boats at those high speeds. Nobody wants boats to come together. There's a lot to learn from this, for sure.
Why do you set them so far apart? We had a very obviously unfortunate event in Perth, and the damage was very big. It's obviously very frustrating not having the chance of score points in Perth and also not being able to race. We're just going to move forward, keep sticking on our procedures and slowly build the season from here. Yeah, we're going to get a thumping out there. Hopefully we're well trained and ready for it, but yeah, I'm expecting it to be a little bit spicy. I mean, for spectators, it is one event I wouldn't want to miss.
You know, it's always a game of inches and just living on the edge, and you know, we feel like we've taken that step to be comfortable pushing in the big breeze.
It's really about making sure you keep your level progressing forward and you can keep kind of showing up to these events and putting on a good show.
Waves crash underneath, sound like thunder speaking. Flying carbon machines, driven by the world's best. Yes, powered by nature, powered by nature. We are SailGP.
And what a beautiful setting here in Auckland, part of the Rolex SailGP Championship. The City of Sails have been fantastic hosts as they've welcomed the league. And once again, SailGP has returned to this beautiful port city. This is the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix. This is day 1 as we get things ready for Super Sunday coming up tomorrow. So 2 races are complete. We've got 2 more fleet races. And remember, it's all about getting into that top 3. And the final race, which comes up tomorrow, that is Super Sunday and the event final. Todd Harris, Stevie Morrison, Hannah Diamond, and Lisa Darmanin with you as we get ready to go sailing. It's been pushed back by about a minute. So, Hannah, this gives an opportunity to break down what we've seen in the first 2 races. And with the conditions the way they are, how do you think things change? And what do you think they do to get themselves in a better position going forward for those teams that are lower on the ladder?
Well, I think we've seen how kind of chaotic it can be on board some of the boats. We've seen a couple of wing trimmers go flying across the boat, just demonstrating how hard it can be to get from one side to the other and pick up on the new jibe.
So 2:49 to go before the start of the third race. Remember, we've got 4 more still to go. And earlier we had the chance to talk with a crew member on the champions right now, Emirates GBR. Let's hear from Stuart Biffle.
You guys won the grand final. You guys won in Fremantle. What's your trick? Why you keep winning?
Well, I didn't win the grand final, but the boys did. Yeah, no, we obviously started the season real nice. So the win in Perth, really good, especially for me as well, just back into the team. What's the key? I'm not sure. I think in this venue, keep it clean. It'll never be over till it's over. I think we're going to see some real crazy shifts out there, and yeah, I would imagine it'll be very good fun to watch.
And what's it been like, I guess, being back with the British team, with the Union Jack, and with Dylan, your old teammate?
Yeah, it's really nice. You know, it's get the flag back on your chest, and yeah, teaming back up with Dylan. It's actually been quite a long time since the Olympics, but it feels like yesterday. And yeah, we were straight back into good habits in Perth. So yeah, hopefully keep going, moving forwards.
And you've sailed with a few different teams. How much do you learn, I guess, sailing with different people? I mean, you've got all the secrets from lots of different teams.
Yeah, I mean, you joke, but you do learn lots of different things from different people and different teams. And yeah, certainly, guess that's what they say is building up experience. But yeah, there's certainly things to take from the Swiss and the Germans that, you know, some of the guys on this team it's new to them, so yeah, it's really good experience.
Well, what a catch up there. I mean, Stuart's done fantastically well, and I think for me the interesting thing really, he said there, the racing here is never going to be over, and that's really proved itself. You've got to stay on the ball. There's a lot of opportunity on this race course. It's really gusty, it's really shifty, and yeah, can you execute a good start? That's course key, but if you then haven't, how do you find space?
Yeah, and there is space on the course. We saw that in the last race where actually Emirates GBR did a really nice job to pick off quite a few boats and climb back to the top of the fleet. But the start is so important to giving you the best chance. It's so much easier if you can get out in front, and especially on a day like today, it can really feel like a fight when you're in the pack.
Well, you can't win the event on day number 1, but you can certainly dig yourself a hole. And Stevie and Hannah, there are some teams that need points in a big-time way, and we'll see if they get a little more desperate here at the start of race number 3. Remember, we've got race 3 and then race 4 to close out the day.
Yeah, a bit of a change up by the Blackfoils. They've decided to come last into the box here. So the US SailGP team, they were early back. They're at the top of the line. They're hoping for that fast angle. I think anywhere on the line is fine. You've got to just be on the line and you've got to be fast. Rolex Pole Predictor is on board Germany, Deutsche Bank in the middle of the line, but they've got a problem with the Bonds flying route. Slingsby's perfectly positioned right now. It's all about the wind-up and the strike. They turn the boat to the line. Canfield out of the top of the line. Absolutely on fire, and Phil Robertson at the bottom. It should be Red Bull Italy that lead at Mark 1 from here. You just got to be accurate, Phil.
You can win coming out from the gate from the mark.
And as they approach mark number 1 here in race number 3, Phil Robertson coming awfully close, and the Blackfoils collide with DS Team France.
Oh, they lost the boat there, the Blackfoils. They just got a little loose. Rudders came out the water. That was a massive incident. We're going to have to check and hope everyone's okay on that one. We'll come back to that. Red Bull Italy lead away at Mark 1. Rockwool, North Star Canada in the pack. They're all well set, and it's Emirates GBR split away. Big gust of wind on board the British boat. Big gust, and they're heading straight down the course. Should be a gain for Fletcher.
Yeah, it looks to me as though the pressure differences have got even bigger since the last race.
And to Stevie's point, we will get you updates quickly as we can to make sure everyone's okay on board. Those two teams, it was DS Team France and the Blackfoils that collided. The race goes on as you have Emirates GBR. They inherit the lead. The Swiss sit in third, and Red Bull Italy escaped that. Look at the speeds approaching 90 kilometers an hour on Rockwool.
Yeah, the British just sailed a lot less distance. Oh, it's a big roundup. They were slow. It's really big gust at the bottom here.
And they have stopped the race. The race has been cancelled.
Just hold down.
Yeah, we're going to need to.
This is a safety issue, isn't it, Stevie?
Yeah. I mean, that was obviously a big incident along that top leg to Mark 1. And we'll wait till we hear more news on exactly what's happened, but yeah, you know, it's gusty, it's shifty, tricky conditions out here on the racetrack, and there'll definitely be a lot of safety boats having to go and help. So we need to stop, keep the fleet safe, and ensure that maximum support goes to those two boats.
So race number 3 at the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix has been abandoned. A huge incident as the fleet was approaching mark number 1. You've got 13 boats all vying for a very sweet spot, Stevie Morrison, and in the end it was DS Team France that had nowhere to go as the Black Foils of New Zealand, and they got together.
Yeah, I mean, to be perfectly honest, Todd, I'd like to see it back before I comment further. I mean, it's the fastest leg of the course, and it looked to me like that they maybe got a little bit of heel into the Black Foils, lost the rudders, and turned towards the wind kind of sharply. Not really their fault, but yeah, tricky.
All right, the safety teams, we are hearing news. They are on site. They are going to take care of all the sailors and the crafts, and we will get you an update as soon as we can. What a way to start season 6 for the reigning SailGP champions in Emirates GBR. They came out swinging in the first event in Perth, and they took the win in Western Australia. And the numbers, well, they don't lie. The Brits were efficient and made very few errors on their way to opening their season 5 title defense in style. Emirates GBR opened the 2026 season with a spectacular title defense.
When we looked at their metrics, they had incredible straight line speed. They were sailing the boat in a slightly different manner to their rivals.
But he flies the boat so well.
The number of overtakes that we saw, it was clearly working.
At the outside. Oh, that's nice.
Emirates GBR snatched in at the finish.
Okay, guys, all good. That's on the line.
One thing that really stood out that we haven't seen before is how little time they had both boards in the water. There was a clear difference in their day, roughly 2 seconds less in terms of having that second board in the water. Quite a game changer in terms of performance.
Reducing the 2-board time reduces the drag, so that's something we're always working towards. So we're trying to get the 2-board time down, but trying to keep the sailability as well.
And in terms of the boat setup, they went slightly different compared to some of the other boats. Traditionally, the F50s are sailed bow down, but Emirates were actually slightly bow up compared to the rest of the fleet.
The amount of rudder lift that you put on the boat, it's like the tail flaps a little bit on a plane. So we can adjust the amount of lift we're adding on the rudders, and the more lift you add, the more bow down you go. And so the more rudder you can get out of the water, less drag, which makes the boat go faster. But there does come a point where if you're pushing that too far, again, the boat becomes really squirrely, quite hard to control. So there's always a balancing act there.
A lot of those settings are available in real time over the air, so teams will be comparing. Some of them will literally copy and paste and make those changes.
There's a hell of a lot of information out there, and it's really important that you don't just do too much browsing it and trying to come up with things. It's more about we've got these questions and let's use the information available to us.
And so it's that balancing act between the sailors and the performance team as to where do you get that sweet spot, the balance between out and out performance and sailability.
All right, so we want to take you back to the start of race number 3 here at the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix. 13 boats all vying for the sweet spot approaching mark number 1, and it was DS Team France colliding with the Black Foils of New Zealand. We can now tell you that all sailors have been accounted for. They are all safe. One injury is being reported, but Stevie, this is a boat that just came back from SailGP Technologies, and it looks like France will be joining them back on the repair. As we take a look at this one more time, we will not speculate on whose fault it is just yet. That is the chief umpire's idea. Look at it in the center of your screen.
Yeah, we see they get very high on the foils on the black there, and the rudder just goes, and then it just spins, and traveling at that speed, there's very little reaction time. I mean, I think the penalty will and has gone onto the black foils because there was no opportunity for the French to keep clear. It all happened so quick. I mean, really not the black foils' fault. They just maybe a little high, flying too high, and you see the rudder comes out, they lose steerage, and the boat rotates up. It will always want to rotate up, but when those rudders come out, the lift and the downforce from them is gone in an instant. And I mean, it's unbelievable scenes out here, and just really glad to hear that everyone's safe at the moment, and we'll look to hear more as we go on. We see them, they get very high, and it gets very high, and then oh my days. I mean, that's, you know, that's really, really quite frightening video, isn't it? As we see on board France, you just get very high on the black foils, it spins out in front. Delapierre's already reacting, but that French boat comes up at them, and you can just see it's a massive, there's huge loads on everyone, but people very quickly on site, the safety teams, as we see the wing now has come down. As the structural integrity of that black foils boat with the hull breaking is pretty much gone. So they'll be just trying to separate the French boat away as soon as possible. The wing looks like it's all in one piece, but yeah, that starboard, what was the windward hull, is you know, that's not going back together very easily at all.
Well, it goes without saying that we have the best safety crew in the business. They were on the site immediately. It also goes without saying that for DS Team France and Black Foils New Zealand, their weekend is done. But the most important thing is that everyone's been accounted for and safe. Stevie, it looked like, as you pointed out, as the rudders came out of the water for the black foils, really, Quentin Delapierre had nowhere to go. He was reacting, and then before he knows it, he's got a boat horizontal right in front of him. Yeah, he's already turning up, and you know, bear in mind, you imagine you're driving your car down the motorway, they're pretty much doing 90 kilometers an hour. You know, things are happening very, very quick. They're not very close together, and just the, you know, effectively they had a tyre blowout on that black foils boat, and they just spun out of control and no time to react. So just to update you, race number 3 has been abandoned after a collision between DS Team France and the black foils. We'll be back after this.
SailGP Racing is high-speed chess on water. You've got to know exactly when to attack and when to defend. I am taking you inside the top defensive moves to separate the champions from the chasing pack. Rule number 1 is stay between your rival and the next mark. Match their moves, stick like glue. Sail in the same wind and don't give them space to breathe. It's like body checking. You're blocking their path without ever touching them. By sailing in the same wind or the same angle, you take away their options. If they try to break free, you respond instantly and keep them in your control. In sailing, we call this covering your opponents. Rule 2. Use disturbed air to slow your opponents down. Here's where it gets sneaky. In SailGP, disturbed air is one of your most powerful tools in defense. The wind powers the F50. If you can place your boat just ahead of your rival in the right position, your wing disturbs the airflow, hitting the boat behind. It's like limiting their accelerator by reducing the amount of power available to them. So a smart defender uses disturbed air as a weapon to control, slow down, and frustrate the team behind. Finally, Rule 3. Weaponize the rules against your opponent. You use the rulebook to control the game and hurt the next threat. Let's say a boat is trying to overtake on the windward side. The leeward boat can push away the other boat and force them to keep clear. If the boat that's being attacked reacts too late, they risk slowing down too much and being given a penalty, or, in this case, having disastrous consequences. It's not being reckless, it's applying pressure with the tools the rulebook gives the athletes. Defend your position, attack the opportunity, and use the rules to make your rivals play your game. And that's how you play chess on water with speeds of 100 kilometers per hour.
Waves crash underneath, sound like thunder speaking. Flying carbon machines, driven by the world's best. Yes, powered by nature, powered by nature. We are SailGP.
And we welcome you back to the City of Sails. This is Event 2, Season 6 at the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix Auckland. There's been an incident on the water, 2 boats pitting together in a collision with DS Team France and the Black Foils of New Zealand. There's been 1 injury, but all sailors are accounted for. However, both boats severely damaged, and it's going to take a while to get them separated and then clear the waters and make sure everyone is there. The safety crews are still on site. So we will keep you updated, but right now, race number 3 here at the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix has been abandoned for the time being. All right, here was the situation at the start of race number 3 here on day number 1 in the City of Sails in Auckland. Stevie, Hannah, we've talked about this before. This is 13 boats all vying for the sweet spot at mark number 1, getting ready to make that left-hand turn.
Just see here, everyone's really accelerating in. Rockwell trying to drive over the top, and as the Kiwis try and push hard across, you see how high they get off the foil, and just as soon as you lose that downforce and grip on your rudders, Hannah, just you're sort of, you know, steering wheelless.
Yeah, that's right. And one of the things, if you're racing to Mark 1, you're wanting to sail the boat as high out of the water as possible. The margins are so small, and I think just where the black foils are just really trying to get over on top to get that inside line, but it's such fine margins in how you sail these boats in these conditions.
Yeah, really, really tight. As we see on board the Italians, we look, see how much foil's out of the water on board the black foils there. And it's just gusty, changeable conditions, and I think, you know, you are constantly sort of having to try and react to what's happening around you, and as soon as someone does hit the brakes in front like that, it's quite frightening. And this view here is just, yeah, really horrendous view, to be perfectly honest. So scary.
Oh. And France with nowhere to go. One more time as we take you on board. Look at this view on Team France.
Even with really quick reactions there, the French just really had nowhere to go with that much time.
Yeah, I mean, Delapierre was already turning up, and we can see shocked fans on the shore. There's an awful lot of fans, and you know, to see the home team like that, it's really quite frightening.
So the report we're getting is one sailor was injured, has been taken to the shore. Member of the Black Foils New Zealand squad, Peter Burling, the driver. We were not going to identify that person just yet, as the safety crew and the medical crew will take proper care. Right now, the race has been abandoned. It was race number 3 on day number 1 here. Wow, Stevie, I think a lot of people were a little nervous coming into this one because of the tight course and because of the high winds and the shifty conditions. Really no fault. Obviously, SailGP is powered by Mother Nature, and she's in a mood today.
Yeah, I think, you know, it could have happened on it could happen on any
Sure.
of these courses. I mean, it's the fact, yes, it's gusty, yes, it's shifty, but people are, you know, driving these boats hard, and the nature of, you know, high performance racing is if you want to win, you've got to push hard, and you've got to push things to the limit here, and I think that's effectively what's happened out there. You know, they've been pushing very hard and got out of control.
So that is the situation right now, as all the teams have come to a complete stop as the salvage crew continues on. Looks like the French boat is in the better shape of the two, as Peter Burling, the driver right there for the Black Foils of New Zealand, he assesses the damage. I'm sure he's very concerned about his fellow crewmen.
Yeah, I'm sure very concerned, but the Black Foils were back after the racing in Perth, and of course, you know, we've had a little bit of a change with how the penalty points work here. They came away from Perth with no penalty points for the season. Means the whole season's not affected, but of course this will have consequence. Let's see how that works.
In previous seasons, contact or damage could cost teams twice, not just in the event points, but on the season table too. If the boat needed repairs too, the hit got worse. Missed races meant missed points, and one moment could take weeks to recover from. Leave an event in the red, and suddenly your season is on the back foot before it's even begun. For the 2026 season, SailGP has adjusted that system, shaped by team feedback to keep the accountability without stacking the punishment beyond the weekend.
I think the penalty points in general, it's good to reduce them. It's good to show that, you know, if you have a mistake, it only affects really the weekend and not the whole season. I think that's a step forward for sure.
I think overall it's good for competition. You know, we saw last season early on a lot of teams gain, you know, a lot of penalty points, which really hindered that competition. It will bring a lot tighter racing, which ultimately is what, you know, everyone wants.
We could have really started the season, you know, with minus points like, you know, you would have last year. So, yeah, luckily for us, we're still on 0 points.
The event penalties have been reduced across the board. Contact is 3, damage 5, and serious damage 7. And there's now flexibility. Penalties can shift up or down by 1 point depending on how safe or unsafe the incident is. Season points are also harder to trigger now. They only come into play after a second penalised incident in the same event.
We still wanted to have something hanging over the teams that said, you know, you've been in a little bit of trouble, you've had some penalty points for contact or damage, but we don't want you to start increasing your risk to gamble to get, you know, to get higher up the fleet. And so we left that in there to say, well, if you have another incident, then we will start deducting season points.
Perth delivered the first real case study. In the Switzerland-New Zealand collision, New Zealand received 7 event points, the baseline for serious damage. And because it was their first penalised incident of the weekend, there were no season points deducted. That's the change. Missing racing still hurts, but one incident no longer automatically follows a team into the rest of the season.
So there is the current situation. All teams that can sail have come to a complete halt as the salvage mission continues on, with DS Team France and the Black Foils of New Zealand coming together at the collision. The Kiwis getting the worst of it as France came across their bow, nowhere to go. The good news is all the sailors have been accounted for, and the one injury has been taken ashore to seek medical attention. So for now, we are in a situation where everything stands down, and until those 2 boats are cleared from the course, there will be no more racing for the time being. Well, one of the new teams that has joined is Artemis, and they certainly were in the mix of that. As we take one more look at this start, Stevie and Hannah, it was chaotic, and the speeds were up, the wind was gusty, and there you see Quentin Delapierre speaking with Peter Burling, the 2 drivers involved in that incident.
Looking back on a replay again here, Todd, and it's the right-hand side of the screen where our action's going to take place. And as we said, it's just very fast. Decent gust of wind, so the boats were going faster than accelerating into that, changing loads and dynamic as that wind comes on, and the Black Foils didn't manage it as well as they'd have liked, but of course they're having to push right on the edge here. And we see Delapierre. Yeah, we just see there on board the French, there's just really no option on the reaction, and you can see just how the athletes are thrown forward on the boat there, Hannah. I mean, you know, at that speed, you're effectively going from 90 kilometres an hour to 0.
Yeah, and really scary for Manon there, sat, you know, right, able to see, but only can communicate using her words there, and Quentin reacting just as quick as he can. But the deceleration of the boats when they come into contact is massive as well. So for all of these sailors, it would have been a really, really scary moment on board.
Stevie and Hannah, I don't have the exact number, but as they were coming together, it looked like the number on top of New Zealand was pushing in the high 80 kilometers an hour before they came to almost a complete stop and went sideways. Well, we'll take a deep breath, and there's Artemis. Artemis joined the fleet at the first event in Perth, and with the team stacked with some seriously experienced athletes, maybe it's no surprise that they got off to a great start, winning races during their maiden event in Western Australia last month. And it's the new kids on the block. Artemis Sweden gets the win. They go 2 for 2 on the final 2 races of the day for the Emirates winning moment again.
Well, I think as a new team to finish 4th at the first event, I mean, obviously a huge success, but it was also good because I think it left us feeling we want more.
You never know with a new team like how it's all going to play out, and this racing's so tight and the margins are so small that, you know, everything did need to come together to have a solid weekend.
It's difficult when you put a new group together to build trust between one another, but I think in Perth we really managed to do that well.
Artemis doing a great job right out of the gate. They finished in 4th, just missing that final.
Obviously Perth started off quite hard with Chris's injury, and I think that moment actually showed that we're already a team.
We're really lucky that we've got a seriously experienced group of sailors. We were able to just hit the ground running, which, you know, made a massive difference for our first event.
Communication is key in this boat. I think it's all driven from Nathan. Even in the tense moments, they somehow be able to stay calm.
Okay, standing by. 3, 2, 1. Keep it nice and chilled.
Well, obviously in a new team, you need to find your role. Who's going to be the fun guy, who's not going to be the fun guy, when are you serious and all that stuff. So we're still learning that.
I think we've noticed that we're quite a calm team. We don't really spike when things get hectic, and I think that's a huge strength.
We're building our culture, and it's something we really focus a lot on so far.
I think everyone's really happy with, you know, how we're working together as a team, both on and off the water.
With the wind that we're going to be having, it's going to be a lot about like managing the boat and like positioning ourselves really well.
Obviously now we want to be on the podium.
Auckland, I thought last year was my favorite event. People are really engaged in sailing. I think the grandstand here is even bigger this year.
It's going to be a challenge just managing the boat around the course and not getting stuck in traffic, because with 13 boats out there and the short course, it's going to be all on.
Well, after one event, it is the reigning and defending champions Emirates GBR that have the lead, followed by three-time winners, the Bonds Flying Roos and DS Team France in third. Now, the newest team, Artemis, sits in fourth, just one spot out of the US SailGP team. North Star Canada, Red Bull Italy, and Rockwell Racing sit mid-pack, while Germany, Deutsche Bank are on 2 points, and Bubba Brazil picked up a single point in Perth. The Swiss, Los Gallos, and Black Foils sit on 0 in the league's early start to season 6. And those are your standings after one event. We are in a hold situation, an incident in race number 3 here on day number 1 at the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix Auckland, where DS Team France collides with the Black Foils of New Zealand. We can now update the report. Two injuries, one on each team. Both of those sailors have been taken to the shore and to hospital. Both are alert, but there have been 2 injuries reported in that collision. And again, once again, a high-speed situation, Stevie and Hannah, where the Black Foils, 87, close to 90 kilometers an hour, and then they go complete sideways.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing with that leg one is we sort of describe when you're sailing at 90 degrees to wind as being in the danger zone, because your only exit is to do quite an extreme turn down or an extreme turn up to be able to depower, and they got overloaded on power. They started to heel. The boat, then, its only way to naturally take itself to depower is it spins itself up, and it's very hard once you do get to the edge at that angle to the wind. It's a long way to get the boat back under control. Any high performance boat is the same, but obviously this is very much the Formula One, so it's accentuated a lot, and your only option is quite an extreme move, which on that leg, when all the boats are going in the same way, Hannah, you just can't really do.
Yeah, and I think, we saw the Kiwi boat, the Black Foils, kind of turn up into the wind, but that's not Pete driving the boat. That is just the fact he's lost control of the rudders. And so, really difficult moment for him, because he's trying to keep the boat on its course, but just not enough rudder in the water at that point.
Yeah, and as they're sailing along that leg and they get a little bit high, were they to be going upwind or downwind, they'd be able to do a little change of course a little bit earlier, but Pete can't really steer it out. They can only sort of lower the boat down, and that just takes a little bit of time. And when you're right on the edge, then unfortunately, you end up over the edge quite quickly, as we saw happen there.
While as the salvage mission continues on, as they separate those 2 boats and extricate them from the waters here in Auckland, we have an opportunity to take you back to the first race of the day as we kicked off the racing at the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix here in Auckland. And here is the start of race number 1.
To pauses like that than others, but it's really crucial. They're going to have to line up really well if they're going to have any hope of leading at Mark 1.
Yeah, I mean, Fletcher definitely saw that early, because the British have been going absolutely flat out from about the last 25 seconds. Canada are definitely late here. They might have a chance to dive inside, but they're going to be really out of position on their plan. The boats manoeuvre back. Bonds Flying Roos, well positioned, tight in the pack. Emirates GBR, wow, drive it like you stole it, Dylan Fletcher. Spins the boat in front of Artemis there. They've managed to close the door. France well positioned here. I think the Black Foils might have a chance to shoot through at the bottom of the line. 16 seconds to go. Burling's got the Black Foils lit up here. Got to watch out for the Spanish. Tight in the pack. Spain controls the start here. Rolex pole predictor on the Bonds Flying Roos, but we're looking for the line to turn white. 3 seconds to go. It's going to be a blanket start.
Pressure on it 2, big one to press 2.
Oh, it's brilliant out the middle by Rockwell, and it's very, very good from the French, but it's a sprint now. Bonds Flying Roos, Slingsby's got a hammer down.
Pressure on him, lifting pressure. Press. Slowly on Rockwell. Sing a little here.
It's going to be tight into Mark 1 here, Todd. They're all overlap. Looks like Australia are going to struggle to get over the top. Should be the French leading at Mark 1.
Okay, marginally clear. Hey, rolling down here.
And at mark number 1, it is DS Team France that grabs the whole shot as they cut inside. They've got the Bonds Flying Roos to the outside. They've got the Kiwis just behind them.
Tight at Mark 1. I think it was interesting, to the right-hand side of our screen, the Black Foils were manoeuvring away early, and I think we're going to find out a lot about this race course early on. France here, you're in the lead, take your time.
They're obviously happy to lead all the way to that boundary there, really late with the jibe. As they come back towards the middle of the course, we did see a lot of boats peel off at Mark 1, but it looks really puffy and shifty on the course with lots of different angles.
Yeah, good breeze on the Black Foils, dark patch of water. Spain fast as well. Top of our scheme, the French. They've definitely sailed into less wind. All boats are going to compress into the bottom, and the angles are changing a lot. Right of way with Spain and New Zealand.
This is the umpires, penalty USA, not giving room at the boundary. Go behind GBR.
Bond's Flying Rouge, brave here from Slingsby. He's got to be sure that he's across. Right of way with the black foils, but it's going to be the Bond's Flying Rouge.
Ooh.
They're a little bit loose, but they're very, very quick round the bottom gate there. Black foils,
Absolutely thread the needle, Stevie. They thread the needle, those 5 boats at the second gate.
Accuracy of manoeuvres there, Todd, was incredible. The Bond's Flying Rouge had to keep it safe, did a nice job. Black foils were fast, very accurate. They've manoeuvred into a nice gust of wind here. Lisa, the breeze here is all over the place. Are there any patterns you've seen out there on the course yet, or are you just reacting to what you got at the time?
Oh, there's no pattern out here, Stevie. It's patchy, as you can see. You also have to sail your own wind. It's not like if you're about 100 metres away from your competitors, even 50, you could be in completely different wind. But where the black foils are right now, they've really hooked into a nice bit of pressure that's bringing them right up the course.
I think something we'll see as the day goes on a little bit, Hannah, here, as you see how unstable the black foils were there. They're going to struggle to manoeuvre across from that side, and I think the top right-hand corner of our screen, it's brilliant for the fans, but that grandstand is so big here in Auckland. This actually means there might not be a lot of wind at the top there. Black foils manoeuvre, they've got to be sure that they're ahead of the Aussies. Looks like Burling's back.
Yeah, and one of the things that makes it so tricky at the top of the course is that they can't anticipate what wind is about to hit them, so it gets to be a bit of a gamble, and they're always planning ahead. So for the black foils, they're really hoping they get a good puff of wind off that shoreline.
Yeah, I think he's going to have to do one more manoeuvre for a left turn here by the look of it. It's going to be less distance to that left turn, but I'm not sure how the breeze will be, so they're going to have to be accurate on their manoeuvre, try and get the boat faster. It's all about getting away from gate 3 as quickly as you can, Todd.
As they approach gate number 3, this is leg 3 of 8, race number 1 of 4. It is New Zealand, the home team, on top. DS Team France has dropped back to 3rd with the Bond's Flying Rouge of Australia sitting in 2nd place. Spain's moved into 4th, and Red Bull Italy rounding out your top 5.
Hannah, I like this right turn here by the Bond's Flying Rouge. Yeah, you see the black foils and manoeuvre early. It's just less wind under that grandstand, I think.
Yeah, and I think what we just can't see off screen at the moment is there is a little bit of a gap. So from the kind of topography of the land, there is a bit of space for the breeze to come through there. But you can see a lot of teams choosing to make that left turn. I suspect we'll see them all manoeuvre early to come back to the middle of the course.
Yeah, and we see Emirates GBR are right stuck back in the middle of the pack here, so they've been pretty much unbeatable for the last little while. But I do think with a new wing trimmer on board, these conditions are going to be hard because it's so dynamic out there. And once you fall off the foils, there's actually not a lot of breeze on the water today. These small wings here, very, very good for high speed, but if you get it wrong, you're going to pay a heavy penalty.
Taylor Canfield on the US SailGP team with a slick move on the outside of the reigning champions Emirates GBR. So it is Australia, the Bond's Flying Rouge out in front. It is the Black Foils of New Zealand in 2nd and DS Team France in 3rd. Denmark, Rockwell Denmark has moved up to 4th. Spain and Brazil now top 6.
Well, here we go. We're already approaching gate 4 here. Bond's Flying Rouge have done an overtake. That right turn was good. Hey, I've still got it, Hannah. We saw that one, but again, a split for the black foils. Burling not afraid to do extra manoeuvres to find extra breeze.
Good angle.
It's really a race course of 2 halves. We've got quite strong breeze down the bottom. You've got to be really careful with that manoeuvre, making sure that you nail that turn up when you to go back upwind, but much lighter at the top of the course. And big separation across the fleet right now.
Separation really kicking into play, but those first 2 legs absolutely hectic as they were trying to find room on this compressed course with the breeze just kicking up. Stevie, to Lisa's report early on, the breeze is not predictable today, is it?
No, it's very dynamic, and this is a great helicopter shot. You see left-hand side, there's the CBD, the Central Business District of Auckland there, and that's really going to be disturbing the wind. Right-hand side of the screen, you can see on average it's going to be clearer, but right now the Bond's Flying Rouge, well, they've got great breeze and they've got a great angle, so the wind's come out of the lucky left for them there. They won't have seen that coming, but Slingsby's one that can grab advantage of anything if it's given to him.
Boundary tag on the German line.
I think your only real controllables out there today are how well you manoeuvre your boat and how well you try and see what's coming. So see that gust of wind coming, see that lighter bit of wind coming. I always think it's harder to see a lighter bit of wind, Hannah. But right there you can see the Bond's Flying Rouge. Not necessarily done what worked last time, but they've reacted well.
But yeah, I think we're going to get fast in this one, pressing. Down slightly. Up at my rig.
So what are they talking about there, Hannah? You can mode the boats differently, can't you? Sometimes you can be sailing at an average speed, but occasionally when it's this shifty, you've got to just put the hammer down.
Yeah, that's right. And a lot of today is going to be about linking the patches of pressure together. So if you can minimise the time you're in that lighter wind, you're going to be sailing faster around the course. Then you also want to minimise your manoeuvres as well. But Bond's Flying Rouge doing a really nice job at the moment.
Yeah, gate 5 here. I think what's interesting is the Bond's Flying Rouge happy to do what didn't work last time, because now the situation's changed. They're in a big dark patch of breeze. It's all over the place, but they made a massive gain as the Black Foils manoeuvre in front of the French team.
I'm going to roll here. I got it. What are we doing? I don't know, mate.
A little bit of chaos out there.
Well, if they don't know what we're doing, I'm not sure any of the rest of us do. That's one of the slickest teams in world sailing, and they're struggling to piece it together and keep things smooth. 2 places lost on the black foils, and they're off the foils. There you go. DS Automobile France, excellent manoeuvre, kept the boat fast, kept the boat slick, and they've driven away from the black foils really quick.
Australia, DS Team France, Denmark, now your top 3.
You can see there the Spanish as well. As soon as you fall off the foils at the top of the course, there's less wind. You've got to be at big incident here. GBR have got to keep, they've got the right of way, sorry. Spain had to see it. Brilliant work by the strategists on board Los Gallos and the black foils there. Nico van Verden and Liv Mackay had their eyes on stalks to see that. The whole field of play is changing all the time, isn't it, Hannah?
Yeah, that's right. And you can see just the difference in angle of the boats coming down the course. In that first leg, they were sailing almost perpendicular to those ladder lines, and now they're sailing almost across them. The pressure difference and the changing angle of the wind is making it really hard to predict the best strategy around the course.
So right now it is the Bond's Flying Rouge, the 3-time champions. They are out in front, guys. You've got DS Team France sitting in second. The battle for a top 3 is between Los Gallos, and it looks like the black foils coming back into form. It's going to be a tight one at this next gate.
Yeah, just a really good angle there. They've just managed to cut the corner on Los Gallos. Really sailed less distance, sailed it pretty fast. Lisa, final upwind leg of the race. A lot of the boats have been favouring that left-hand side, it seemed, on the last lap. Is there anything obviously changed?
All over the show like a horse draws, isn't it?
Sounds like we've lost Lisa's comms there. We'll get back to her as we are on leg 7 of 8, the penultimate leg here on race number 1. We've got 3 more fleet races to go. Everyone's going to take a deep breath, and there's going to be a lot learned, Stevie, from this first race.
Well, yeah, a huge amount learned, but I think the interesting thing with this course, Todd, is to Lisa's point and what we've been seeing out in the race course. In some ways, there isn't a lot to learn, because it's just that what you've learned is changing all the time. So I think it will just reinforce the fact that be accurate what you can be accurate with. Australia here, they've come way wide of those blue lines. That's our lay line that says you'll make the next gate, but they're just building margin in here. Los Gallos, middle of our screen, they've actually split away from the black foils, and they're sailing into a huge gust of wind here on the Spanish boat. Potentially a big game for them against the New Zealand team at the top, but it's going to be a left turn here for the Aussies, and they should bring it home for the first race win, I reckon.
Tom Slingsby slings it around, and here we go. What a way to open up here at the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix in Auckland, as the Bond's Flying Rouge gets the Emirates winning moment here on day number 1, race number 1. So that was earlier today as the Bond's Flying Rouge win race number 1. The race has been officially abandoned, and we will have no more racing today as they continue to try to salvage the 2 boats involved in that collision, DS Team France and the Black Foils of New Zealand. So no more racing today on day number 1. For more information, you can always go to sailgp.com.
Okay, well, we're going to have a look at our Rolex Precision athletes of the day out there on the water. And Nikolai Seherstedt, well, we saw how tight those starts were. Nikolai very accurate, averaging 0.95 of a second behind the line. I think wing trimmers day, very, very hard for the wing trimmers out there. And Glenn Ashby, he had a big job coming on, I think, out there on the water, really, Hannah. Really tricky day out for them.
Yeah, and starts all important, always talking about how important those starts are, and the Rolex best time start of the day went to Artemis with 0.05 of a second behind the line in that second race. So really impressive on that time and distance from Artemis in that second race today.
All right, guys, we will wrap things up, and we wish the very best for those 2 injured athletes. Once again, the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix has been suspended for today. We will look for you tomorrow on Super Sunday. For Stevie, Hannah, and Lisa, I'm Todd Harris. We'll see you then. SailGP arrives. Welcome to the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix Auckland. Huge crowds are expected to witness this sailing spectacle of elite athletes on
Slingsby's got the hammer down. Flying Rouge a little bit loose.
This winning moment goes to the home team. Coming awfully close, and the Black Boys collide. And they have stopped the race.